Hi, on this channel, games and the cars from them, facts, creation, history, and specs. Subscribe and let's go.
Porsche 930, officially known as the Porsche 911 Turbo, is one of the most iconic and influential sports cars ever created. Introduced in 1975, the 930 was not just another version of the 911, it was a revolution that changed how people viewed turbocharging, performance cars, and Porsche itself. The story of the Porsche 930 begins in the early 1970s. At that time, Porsche was heavily involved in motorsport, especially endurance racing and Formula One. The company had gained massive experience with turbocharged engines, most notably with the legendary Porsche 917/30, which dominated the Can-Am racing series. Engineers realized that turbocharging could be adapted for road cars, bringing race-level performance to everyday driving. Porsche needed a homologation model for racing, but instead of building a limited production car, they decided to create a high-performance road car that would also serve as a technological showcase. This decision led to the birth of the 911 Turbo, internally coded as 930. When the Porsche 930 debuted at the 1974 Paris Motor Show, it shocked the automotive world. Its aggressive design immediately stood out. The car featured wide rear fenders, a wider track, and most famously, the large rear spoiler known as the whale tail. This spoiler was not just for looks, it helped with engine cooling and provided additional downforce at high speeds. Under the rear hood sat a 3.0-liter air-cooled flat-six engine equipped with a single turbocharger. In its first version, the engine produced 260 horsepower, which was an enormous figure for the mid-1970s. At a time when many sports cars struggled to make 200 horsepower, the 930 offered supercar-level performance. The acceleration was brutal. The Porsche 930 could go from 0 to 100 km per hour in around 5.5 seconds, and its top speed exceeded 250 km per hour. These numbers made it one of the fastest production cars in the world. However, the 930 quickly gained a reputation, not just for speed, but for being extremely challenging to drive. One of the main reasons was turbo lag. Below a certain RPM, the car felt relatively calm. But once the turbocharger kicked in, power arrived suddenly and aggressively. This explosive surge of boost, combined with rear-wheel drive and a rear-engine layout, made the car unforgiving for inexperienced drivers. Because of this behavior, the Porsche 930 earned legendary nicknames such as Widowmaker. It demanded respect, skill, and concentration. There were no electronic driving aids, no traction control, no stability systems, no ABS in early versions. Everything depended on the driver. Another unique feature of the 930 was its 4-speed manual transmission. While many expected a 5-speed gearbox, Porsche engineers chose a 4-speed because it was stronger and better suited to handle the massive torque produced by the turbo engine. The long gear ratios further emphasized the turbocharged character of the car, keeping the engine within its boost range at high speeds. In 1978, Porsche updated the 930 significantly. Engine displacement increased from 3.0 liters to 3.3 liters, and an intercooler was added. This improved cooling efficiency and increased power output to 300 horsepower. The rear spoiler was redesigned to make room for the intercooler, giving the car an even more aggressive appearance. With these upgrades, performance improved even further. The 0 to 100 km per hour time dropped to around 5 seconds, and top speed reached approximately 260 km per hour. By this point, the Porsche 930 was firmly established as one of the most desirable and feared performance cars on the planet. Despite its reputation, the 930 was also surprisingly usable for its time. The interior retained classic 911 elements, 5 round gauges, a driver-focused cockpit, and high-quality materials. While it was not luxurious by modern standards, it offered a balance between raw performance and everyday practicality. Production of the Porsche 930 continued until 1989, with minor updates over the years. In its final years, the car received improved brakes, suspension refinements, and eventually a 5-speed gearbox in some markets. By the end of its production run, the 930 had become a symbol of excess, power, and pure driving emotion. The legacy of the Porsche 930 is enormous. It laid the foundation for every turbocharged 911 that followed, from the 964 Turbo to the modern 911 Turbo S. More importantly, it proved that turbocharging could be reliable, road-usable, and incredibly exciting. Today, the Porsche 930 is a highly sought-after classic. Collectors value it not only for its performance, but for its character. It represents an era when cars were raw, mechanical, and demanding. Driving a 930 is not about comfort or technology. It is about skill, courage, and connection between driver and machine. In automotive history, the Porsche 930 stands as a legend. It is not just a car, it is a warning, a challenge, and a masterpiece. A machine that rewards those who respect it, and punishes those who underestimate it. Even decades later, the Porsche 930 remains one of the most unforgettable sports cars ever built. At the time of its release, the Porsche 930 was not just fast, it was faster than many of the most famous and respected sports cars in the world. In the mid and late 1970s, very few production cars could compete with it in straight-line speed or top-end performance. The Porsche 930 was quicker than the Ferrari 308 GTB, which had a naturally aspirated V8 and significantly less power. It also outperformed the Lamborghini Arauco, another exotic sports car of the era, both in acceleration and high-speed stability.